And I started my period at the age of 13. Nobody ever told me that it would be accompanied with such great pain. Mommy and mom had told me that, they'd seen women and young girls suffer in pain due to menstruation, but not the kind of pain they had seen me battle, not the kind of pain they had seen me struggle with. At age of 15, mom and mommy decided to take me to the gynecologist. And the gynecologist said, whatever Njambi is going through is very normal, and the pain will go away once she gets a child. And I was like, when am I going to get a child? Like, okay, I'm 15, so when do I get a child? So I grew up knowing it was normal, and that coupled with an identity crisis, high school was rough, extremely rough. And the pain was worse, and I had no clue, I had no idea what this was. And I graduated from high school, and I made it to university. My years at Daystar University were brutal. The pain was immense. I graduated from Daystar, and later on joined different media houses, and my health was deteriorating. I was getting worse by the day. So I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And endometriosis is a disease where tissue that normally lines the uterus grows outside of the uterus. It's a very painful disease, tremendous, I call it apocalyptic pain. And one of the major symptoms is painful periods that I've battled for the last 21 years. I had to stop reading news because the endometriosis was sporadically spreading all over my body. In 2016, there was a major retrenchment at a private media house I was working in, and I lost my job. And I came back home to find Mommy extremely sick. 2 weeks later, Mommy was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. It broke my heart to see Mommy silent, weak. My biggest life coach, who is now the weakest, she'd lost that fire, she'd lost that mojo. And the cancer was spreading. And in March 2016, Mommy asked us to let her go. Later on, after we buried Mommy, I went back to USIU to complete my 3rd degree. After 8 years, I graduated with collapsed lungs with my 3rd degree. I had no idea what I was going through. And so this also was the beginning of a long medical journey for Njambi Koikai. I was finally diagnosed with thoracic endometriosis adenomyosis stage 4 by my gynecologist, Dr. Praful Patel, and my cardiothoracic surgeon, Dr. Maurice Muhinga. And in the words of Dr. Praful Patel, who looked at me straight in the eye and said, Njambi Koikai, you need to leave this country as soon as possible, because there's absolutely no doctor, no specialist in this country, not in this continent, who could help you or who could solve this problem. And I said to myself, what is this? What is thoracic endometriosis? What is endometriosis? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to do this? We have no money. We've just come from a medical issue, and now here I am with this grave disease. And the cost of treatment was out of this world. So I called my musician friends in the industry, and we organized major concerts. Strangers came through to help with the logistics, with the planning, with the organizing, and everything that went through. My friends in the media came through with the interviews and the promos and the posters and everything in terms of marketing and advertising. And my friend Gilad, he also came and performed, and it was such a magical experience. I was 36 kilograms. And by the time I was being diagnosed by Dr. Praful Patel, I had gone through 18 surgeries. To be scared, I was not. We raised the much-needed amount. And in March 2018, we finally arrived at the Center for Endometriosis Care in Atlanta, Georgia, under the care of Dr. Ken Sinavo and Dr. John Goldman. I went through the first major surgery, March 1st, 2018, and I was later placed under isolation for over a month. And then I developed complications, and I went through another surgery. And in 2019, January of 2019, we were planning to come home, and I developed major complications in my right lung, and I had to go through another surgery. This was it. I was tired. This is surgery number 21. I am tired. I have gone through it. I was tired. And I was like, God, I've fought and I've fought and I've fought, and it doesn't seem like it's getting better. Throughout this whole ordeal, I never cried. This was the first time I cried. And I cried not because of the pain, I cried because this process was not ending. And I was mentally out of it. And so we went in through the surgery, and I was taken to the operating room, and they put in a tube, as they would normally do, to drain out the fluid in my lungs. And after 2 hours, the nurse came back and said, we have to take you back to the operating room, Njambi, because the tube that was fitted was not big enough. So I was taken back. And all this time, by the way, I can feel everything, eh? I can feel everything. So I was taken back. They put back the tube. And this tube was put back for a process known as pleurodesis, whereby they inject medication to create a buffer zone between your lung and your diaphragm so that your lungs can stay expanded. I've gone through this process about 5 times. And this time, it was very strange, it was very horrific, it was something I'd never experienced in my life. And so as they were pushing in the medication, it started spilling over to my nasal airways, and I started choking and burning. And I could feel oxygen just leave my body. And I knew this was it. I knew this was it. I had fought, and yeah, Njambi had fought the good fight, so. And I could hear the nurses saying, Njambi, breathe, 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 breathe. And I tried, and I'm trying to get, to catch my breath through that whole burning sensation of medicine and chemicals in my body, and I'm trying, and finally, God gave me the courage, and I could feel a sense of calm, and I could breathe, and I just felt